Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. It's a Friday for me. I'm packing for a trip, and that always carries two sides of the coin. It's the, oh my gosh, I'm leaving, got to get it all done. And then there's the, I'm so excited about it, I can't wait. A question came up yesterday. I had talked about in the mastermind that my own, the word is ability, but I don't even know that it fits. But I'll just use it. My ability to drop into presence at any time in any environment wherever I am. Now, that's not to say that I don't get pulled into the pulled down the river. Get caught up in the contrast. I do. It's typically not for very long, and I'm able to see at a different level than I have ever been able to. And so then there's a coming back out. That kind of leads me to like the answer, just how this works anyways, because part of the question was, well, how did you get to the stage where you can do this? And also, how does that tie in with your creativity? I really just think what we're talking about here is the you seeing you, and you're on a journey, and yours is no better or worse. There's no speed to this because there's no measurement. There's no degree to it in terms of like more or less. There's a degree to it in it's approaching its own limit. And if you've taken calculus or anything, you'll know what I mean by that. But like the limit always approaches zero, but doesn't actually touch zero. And that is equivalent to you're always moving towards the greater you, the big you. And part of your journey is conversations like this. And you could listen to this conversation and you could be cooking dinner and not paying attention and all that. And that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. Or you could listen to this and go completely vertical on it. It's really going to come from, where do you value this? Like where does this sit in your psyche? And that, by the way, gets set before the information comes in, because the 3D is a lag. So I'm going to circle back to this dropping in presence thing, but I'll give you an example of this whole value thing. So we're redesigning the structure of our programs inside of the Spiritual Investor, and it's not a function of redesign because anything is wrong. It's things change, and we're always wanting to look at, okay, what's the best uptake that we can provide for people to come in and have this be an integrated part of their life, but not really take up a lot of time, because I don't me, I don't believe in time. And so time can be replaced with presence and your agreement to go vertical. And so I like to think that people that come into the Spiritual Investor programs, they're willing and ready. And so as a responsibility of my own to get them to that place, what I designed this morning is something that my team will be working on over the next probably month, which is a free, here's how you call in wealth immediately. And it's literally taking what I know to be true from the mastermind based on seeing the reflection from just tons of people that have gone through it. And then also what I see from questions, and like, this is the thing. It's not that we're not using the past. The past, when we bring it in, is like salt on a meal, right? So I can see what lands with people. I can listen to what questions they have. And so now I developed this program, which I want to be like readily available for you, that is high value, but it's going to be free. So actually, I address in the very beginning of it that like your uptake is going to be dependent on, are you going to bring your past into this? Because we all know that part of this whole world of online business, it includes people have put out a lot of junk that's free because they want you to sign up for their program and they want to get your email address or whatever they're wanting, right? And so you're going to align with humans who are packaging value and meeting you where you are, and you might not find them on a Facebook ad. There's a part of me that feels like you're moving towards that, wanting to be that person. And I think that as we are, the wave of AI, which is already here and then some, I think it's a push towards humanness. And as a human, I wouldn't sit down with you at dinner and be in a conversation with you and give you a bunch of junk. And so why would I, as a human and the biggest version of me, do that with anything? Even here, like if you were sitting with me at dinner right now, I would be having the same conversation with you. There's no difference. Like you could be the closest person to me in my life, or you can be listening to me on a podcast. What that does is that takes presence. And presence is literally, we're always in a state of presence. That's how we're designed because we're source. The only time we're not in a state of presence is when we're bringing in the past. And so I don't have a greater ability to be present. I have practiced my way into a greater ability to be here and not bring who I was, who I don't want to be. And what most people do is they try and they'll front up with their stories of who they were. And then the whole time they're trying to get you to believe that they're somebody brand new. Right. And then we go, why doesn't our world work? Right. And so tying this back into creation, things come to me very quickly. And I think that this is a function of just the momentum has increased in our world. And so you might be seeing this as well. What I'm seeing is that things come to me not in a singular fashion. So it's not like I'm pulling down one timeline. Things come to me in multiple different ways. So I'm saying I want something, and then all of a sudden it's here 18 times. And my level of presence is what causes me to see that. So one could argue that that's always happening, and we're just waking up to our own seeing, which is we've already created it all, right? Now, there's a couple different ways I could go with this, but what I feel like is going to be really, really useful to you is, how did I practice my way into this? There's not one singular answer, but let's just go with this. Certainty is the language that carries the energy of everything that you want. And I talked about this on a previous episode where if you have backup plans, or like, oh, if this happens, then I'll go do this. Nothing wrong with that. But you're in agreement with the thing I want, I'm not going to get. And you're also in agreement with, you're okay splitting your energy. So you're okay saying, I'm full source energy, but I'm going to give 2% over here to this might not work plan. And I'm going to give 3% over here. And I'm going to give 17% over here. I'm using percentages as an example. Obviously, it doesn't matter about percentages, and then you have your default percentage that already isn't present and there, which is your conditioning in your past. And then you have your default percentage, which isn't there, which is your own internal conversations. Now, that's why I'm saying this is exactly like in calculus, it approaches a limit because you're never, ever, ever fully source. You can pull the power in of that source in the moment, but when it goes through and radiates, there's a fractal happening whereby it's radiating out into the world, and it's supposed to be that way. And the fact that we want to be 100%, or that we may even reject, that we can't be 100%, shows how locked into the 3D world we are, because measurement only exists in the 3D world. As a divine being, you don't care how close or far away you are. As a divine being, you can be present in any situation, in any room. And that is what I'm seeing happening, is that people are trying to orchestrate their environment as a function of, I'm creating a new world. But that involvement in the orchestration of it is actually taking them away from the most powerful way to create a new world, which is to be the self-expression of what they're wanting to see out there, right? That was Gandhi's whole thing, be the change that you want to see, right? And this fractal system is presenting in itself the contrast, because as soon as something comes out in the 3D world, it's a reflection back. The contrast is actually just contrast and just a reflection until the non-source versions of you interact with it, and then it becomes suffering. You can even be enjoying something to the nth degree, and there still could be this part of you that's like, how do I keep this going? I hear that a lot. People come into the program and they're like, I have so much money coming in. How do I keep it going? Okay, well, is that question necessary? You know, you're already turning the pedals of the bike. You don't need to ask mid-turn, how do I keep it going? If you've got it there, you've got it, then you know. But inside that question is the fear that we're going to suddenly screw it up. But, going back to this wanting the world to look a certain way, I'm not saying that you don't get involved in the world. Of course, please do, especially you who are listening to this. I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're putting wealth in the hands of those who are conscious. Go out, mess up, play, be in action with money, especially. Because the self-expression is actually the vehicle to getting you somewhere. And that's why, I interviewed Jessica Gill yesterday from To Be Magnetic, and it was just an amazing conversation. We'll publish it here so you guys will hear it. But that's part of the whole thing, is cleaning up the flow and being in this and getting back to this energy of certainty. So what I'm constantly doing, and one of the ways that I get there, is that anything that happens, I look at it as there's just a world of me and me. So something will happen. And when I say happen, of course, things are happening all the time. Happen, and then I have an entanglement with it. The first line of action is to cut the entanglement. And so I have a disentanglement exercise that I give you in the mastermind, which is something that people are doing on a daily basis. And that's how you're collapsing time. You're doing things like that. You're practicing your way into the new version of you, and that's what collapses time. We're going to be able to do this more and more in the future. And this is one of the things that Jessica and I talked about after the podcast. And I think, you know, we're going to do another episode and we're going to talk more about this, but it's just with AI coming in, there's a intrinsic, you're going to have to drop the past, because there's going to be so much creation that is going on that it is almost going to force you into your own humanness even more so. So it's actually a perfect design. In my opinion, it's a perfect design. Also, it's going to get us outside of time, because I believe that AI is a replacement from time, a replacement for time. Yeah, because time is not going to be an issue for us anymore. And it's believing that time is an issue that keeps us stuck in time. When we're in the room with our best friend or we're in love, we don't feel time. So if no one felt time, time wouldn't exist. It's that structure that's in the background. It's when your best friend leaves or you get on the airplane and you leave your loved one, then you're back in time. So AI replaces time because your definition of time is going to be in your face broken if it's not already, because of the speed that AI can do things that weren't even possible, or maybe it took years for a human to do. So if we don't have that issue, then what will the issue become? Well, you'll have to look more at you. If you can build a business with an AI team and you could do it in a day and you don't do it, who's to look to then? And so, I have this thing I call breaking the structure inside of the Spiritual Investor Program. It's one of the 5 aspects. And I've been teaching this for years. And that is, how do we step outside of time and create the change in our life now? Because I believe that those of us who are expanding into greater consciousness, I believe that our world would be better if we could also put wealth in the hands of those people. But what I see is that there are many people who are expanding into their greater consciousness, and they're what you would call spiritually advanced, yet their money is left behind. Well, you don't have to get a whole new set of tools for money. Don't do money the old way, please, because it doesn't even fit anymore. What you're able to do is to pull over those principles that you already have and your way of being in other areas into money. And that's what I'm helping people do, because number one, why would you want to relearn everything? And number two, if you do, it's likely going to be outside of you. You already have everything you need within. You just don't know how to apply it in this area of money. And that's why I think that we get so many like drop-in moments inside of the spiritual investor, like oh my God, I didn't see this, because what happens in a drop-in moment is that you've simply dropped the old version of you. And this is really good when you're able to use money to be able to do this, because if you're not using money or some other tool, love in a relationship or something like that, then you're just kind of managing circumstances, and you're just getting better and better and managing. You're just expanding as who you were, money is a vehicle that allows you to see yourself if you're willing and have a desire to see the bigger self. I think a lot of people are willing and have the desire. It's just they really haven't gone into like bringing their energy forward to match it. So I think a lot of people believe in these concepts. Energy is money. Um, you feel the flow of money, all of these things. But like, honestly, if you have to say it or think about it anymore, then it's not really embodied within you. If money is not constantly flowing in your world, there's something that's blocked. And I'm saying this to myself as well. I'm actually looking at my own money blocks now. And the reason I'm able to do it is because I put myself through a breaking of the structure. And this started mid last year. And everything I do has been oriented towards a massive breaking of the structure. And it's gone into the restructuring of the company. I've brought in a new person who is like, she's now making a lot of big decisions. So she's taking that heaviness off of me. And I say heaviness because what I really want to do is just I want to make more content and be on more podcasts, and I want to go out and travel and connect with people. Why? That's a good thing. That's by design, because that's actually what has continued to expand and grow the company. And so now I've brought someone in where it's not that I don't like working directly with the team every day and making decisions, but practically it just doesn't work with including all of it, right? And so they're waiting and I'm on an airplane, or I don't have time to read that report, and then they're stalled and then they can't do their work. And um but it had to be the right person. It had to be a person who could not just run things from a build perspective, but carry the big vision, because otherwise the big vision doesn't go into the build. And that's what I noticed actually just recently this week. I was like, uh-oh, hold on. And this is the ability, because now I have a freer space and I can guide the company in a way that I wasn't able to do before, because I was more inundated. So I was able to go, oh, wait, hold on, this 2026, I see the past, and it's about 90% the past. The vision wasn't showing up in the people's roles or in the tasks that we were doing. Um, and then I saw the disconnect. I'm like, oh, here's where we want to get to. Here's the things we're doing. Uh-uh. I saw so clearly that the magic wasn't going to be able to be let in. Then I saw myself in it. I saw, first of all, how I had designed all of this because of my role in the company thus far. And I saw how I was seeing how I bring the magic in a certain way, and I needed to let go of that as well. I'm telling you, all of this is perfectly designed. And once we see that we can do anything and we can handle anything, and that to me is equivalent of, trust yourself, then the circumstances don't matter. And so when the circumstances don't matter, then this is circling us back to the very start. You can be present anywhere you go at any time, because it's just moving through you. And in fact, you're allowing is at a much greater capacity, because you want to allow more in, because that's more for you to see. And if it's not going through clogged pipes, like if it's not going through your own emotional resistance and blasting system, then you do desire that. And I could even go into this whole nervous system regulation thing and blah, 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 which I have my own, as you can imagine, opinions about that. And my opinions, they're my opinions, right? And I trust in you that you're operating at a high enough level where you're going to take what rings true to you, and you're going to leave the rest, which gives me the freedom to just be who I am. And so thank you for providing that space, because I will say, this is 5.5 years with this podcast. That is one thing that I've always stayed true to. I'm just going to show up here and I am just going to not filter, and I'm just going to be in service. I'm going to manage my energy outside of this so that I can come here and be fully present and open to you and to allow that energy to flow through. And I have done that. And now this podcast is in the top 2% in the world. I didn't even know that until my PR person told me. I was like, really? I haven't done anything other than that. And so if that helps you, take it. Whatever applies to you. All right. So much love to you. I'll see you on the next episode. Okay, I want to share something with you. The next round of the Spiritual Investor Mastermind, it starts in May 5th to be exact. This is a container that is literally mind-blowing. I mean, even around the third week, you're going to be like looking back on yourself. Really, it's the IV drip of kind of the experience that you would have gotten here, or if you've been in any of the groups. It's really, really a way for spiritually conscious investors to stop circling the edges of their wealth and to actually go vertical. We go deep into the markets. We go into intelligent portfolio design. I teach you how to, you don't necessarily have to take all this risk in order to make money. You don't necessarily have to love the market and be checking it every day. I teach you how to integrate it into your life as something that you enjoy and you apply your creativity with. I watch every single cohort. I watch people be able to get to a stage where they're literally looking back on a version of themselves who made less money, who was afraid to invest, and they're saying, I don't recognize that person anymore. Like I said, it's 12 weeks. We do have payment plans for it, so don't think that it's something that's going to be out of your reach. The spots are limited in it, and it's always full. So that's why I want to bring it up now, let you know. Just go to thespiritualinvestor.com, fill in an application. It'll be in the show notes as well. So, all right, I will see you in the room there.